So I'm going to go through a little bit of a voltmeter diagnostics for guitar pedals. And if they do not power, here's some steps you could take to see if they work. The first thing that I like to do is always check the polarity of the power supply. And you want to make sure that that's around 9 volts. Center tap is always ground. This outside is always 9 volts, depending, I mean, it depends on the pedals, but the majority of them are like that. And I want to make sure that the voltage goes throughout the pedal the same way. 9 volts. 9 volts here too on the IC. The bottom left corner, even though this is upside down, the bottom left corner is always going to be your ground on your op amps typically. Additionally, you want to go through and check all of your voltages. So you can go hold this ground pin right here and then hit all of our junctions and see where your 9 volts are. So the next thing you want to do is move it into continuity mode. And continuity mode tells you if a wire is connected to one another. So if it touches, it rings. And we want to go through our schematic and make sure that every 9 volts on there has a little beep noise. And we'll go through the whole entire circuit, follow your schematic, and make sure every point on here beeps. If it doesn't, you're missing a junction. So that's a good way to troubleshoot. Additionally, we want to go to our ground, and polarity doesn't matter when you're doing continuity tests, and make sure that rings. And you can kind of skim around and find other spots. There's gonna be a beep there because that's your ground as well. Make sure all of your grounds are connected. The fourth thing that you want to check is make sure there is no beeping noises between 9 volts and ground. There's a lot of times there'll be a dead short between 9 volts and ground, and you'll get a beep, and you do not want that. It's the one time you don't want it. So the 4 things you want to check are the power supply's polarity, and you want to make sure that's consistent throughout the whole circuit. Second thing is check continuity over the power pin, and then third thing is check continuity over ground pins. And last, you want to make sure that there's no short in between power and ground. If you have an issue where your 9 volts isn't 9 volts, you have a little bit more of a challenge to look through. And typically the way I do that is I'll go in and I'll take out the IC and start isolating stages. So you just pop this thing out, you isolate your stages, take pins off, cut pins off, reattach them. So a tool that I have here that's really useful is this audio jack. So this plugs into your amp, and I clip this onto the ground, consistent ground, and then you could probe around the board and follow your signal path, and you can see what stage it's failing at. And that's usually a quick way to isolate where your issue is. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and hope this helps.